Hi, this is Anna, and today I'm going to talk about the payoffs of staying sick. So, I mentioned in the last segment that the mental energy field interacts with our struggles and our pain often by creating rules and restrictions because it's learned its lesson from what happened to us in the past and it's trying to prevent us from making the same mistake again. So, all these restrictions and rules keep us kind of on a particular path of straight and narrow path. But another way that the mental energy field interacts with pain is by making meaning of it and creating stories around it and even sometimes establishing our identity around it. So this is how that might happen. If, let's say, you're a person who in your childhood struggled with sexual or physical abuse. And so as a consequence of your growing up in that situation, you develop certain attributes, which are really positive attributes, such as resilience and strength and compassion. Well, the brain, the mental energy field, might identify you as a survivor. And inside the word survivor, you have all of these positive attributes accounted for. But by virtue of the identity survivor, you also have the pain still alive and still stuck with you. The mental energy field does not know how to separate the pain from the positive attributes. So when you're thinking about spiritual healing and that's releasing the pain, on the mental level, you can be very fearful that if you lose the pain, you lose the benefits, which is now enriching your life and with which you are enriching other people's lives. So you may decide it's better to hold on to the pain so I can hold on to these attributes. Now, that is a particular paradigm that is in the mental field, which isn't true on the spiritual field. When I say that, I mean that your positive attributes that you've already earned are yours, and you don't need the pain any longer to hold on to them. In fact, your positive attributes will function much more powerfully when they're not attached to the pain. But that is something that you don't know on the mental level until you do it. So it may feel too risky to do the spiritual healing process if you're afraid you're going to lose these positive characteristics. Another complication that we find with spiritual healing is that we often have communities that are sort of formed around our struggles and our pain. You know, we have support groups for addictions and for abuse survivors and for people who are struggling with cancer. And those communities can be very close-knit and very, very cemented because of our common experience of struggle. Even families can be like that. If a family has a common experience of poverty or abuse or addiction, you know, that can really cause a lot of connection and a feeling of belonging in that family. And to remove that pain or that struggle means that your relationship to that community will change. And you might actually lose that community connection altogether because you no longer fit in. And humans are social creatures, so we can't underestimate how important it is for us to have that social connection. And it might be enough to think, you know, maybe spiritual healing is possible, but I'm going to lose this potentially. And that's really important to me, and I don't want to lose that. So the truth is, only you can decide where you are in your life and what makes sense for you. And for someone to choose to stay where they are, where they have social connection, where they are doing good in the world and are feeling positive about their lives, even if that means you're holding on to the pain, I would say that is a perfectly valid choice. And you should be able to own that and honor that. Like, maybe a different life is possible, but I don't want that other life. I want this one in this current situation with these current limitations and these current blessings. That's something that we can all own. But if you're someone who does feel led to something different, who feels a little bit too restricted, and like what you really want to do is on the other side of the healing, then it's really important to be able to employ a tool I'm going to talk about in our next segment. Because if you can't employ this tool, then you can't build up enough momentum to break free of your current situation. So the next segment is called Imagination as Your Escape Hatch. I hope you'll join me for that one. Bye.